Today's topic is one of my favorite topics. It's not my favorite feeling though, but I think most of us have maybe experienced it at least once in a lifetime. Maybe not all, but I bet most of us. And some people are suffering that more often. So today we are going to talk about anxiety. I think it's super interesting what is happening in our body and in our brain, what are our thoughts. And I will shortly describe what is the difference between the anxiety disorder and anxiety, and also I will give tips end of the video what would maybe help you to kind of not feel anxious in the situation where you don't need to feel like that. So I'm Jani Karuska, and this is my study journey. I'm studying neuroscience at the University of Helsinki. Sometimes I'm sharing my basic life, maybe my struggles during my studies, and sometimes I'm picking up the topics which I'm super interested in. So you can always leave a comment, and I would love to discuss with you about these topics which I'm talking here. And of course, you can suggest new topics too. The reason why I picked up this topic is, of course, that anxiety disorders are one of the most frequent psychiatric disorder in Western world. So it's affecting to quite many people, and also that even people who are not having the exact disorder, most of the people are still having some of the symptoms in situations where those are not needed. So it's really important topic to talk. The other reason why I picked up this topic is that I'm doing my practical training in this research group where we are focusing to anxiety disorders. So I'm reading quite a lot papers about the topic and also writing article or kind of research article about what I'm doing there. So I love to share the information and knowledge what I'm learning. So these are the reasons behind this topic, and I'm super happy to talk about it today. The first thing what I want to say about anxiety is that it's really normal. So it's normal reaction what is happening in our body. It's emotional response to possible future threat. It's really good for our survival because it increases our awareness and it makes possible to react really fast. And what is normally happening if we think about physiological symptoms, we might have a increased heart rate and blood pressure, and we might get dizziness and maybe sweating, these kind of things. So we are ready for an action. And there might come some tension and worried thoughts. So our thoughts are going a bit more negative side. So that makes possible to react and to maybe, if we would face a bear or lion somewhere, we would be more able to escape from the situation. So this is extreme example, especially here. We don't have lions in Finland. Yeah. But anyways, I think you get the point. So it's really normal thing what happens to us. It can arise also from the situation where there is no immediate threat around us. We might have these physiological functions happening and the thoughts coming in situations where we don't need those, but we can still continue our life, and it maybe doesn't bother us all the time and so on. But when we talk about word disorder, it means that it's problem. Then it's affecting to our life really negative way, like our everyday life. So anxiety is problem when it is maladaptive, it's permanent, and uncontrollable, so you can't control it. And it's affecting in a negative way to everyday life. So then we can talk about anxiety disorder. So it's, if you have that, you are not alone. And that's always, of course, that doesn't take the feeling away from you. And that's not what I mean to say here. But it's also good always, if there are others, there are people who want to solve the problem and help people. So anxiety disorders are really, really heterogeneous disorders. We have some categories under that, and they are based to these DSM-5 and ICD-11. So that's the current where you can read the what kind of anxiety disorder and what are the symptoms kind of under that. Hopefully I explained it at least somehow clear way. But the current categories in anxiety disorders are generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety disorder, specific phobias, and panic disorder, and then separation anxiety disorder. Hopefully, I mentioned all of them. Previously, also OCD and post traumatic stress disorder were under the anxiety disorder category, but now they have their own place. It's known that both genes and environmental factors are affecting that the person can have anxiety disorder. And we know, I will say this really simplified way, I have learned this is not simply at all, but we know also that certain brain areas are involved to this anxious feeling. So for those who would like to maybe go a little bit deeper what comes to anxious feeling in our brain, I will mention few things which are well known. There are other brain areas too, and this is really, really, as I mentioned, the anxiety disorders are so heterogeneous that you can imagine how many things there might happen. But we know so far that the brain areas included to this anxious feeling are like hyperactive ventral hippocampus, that's one, and then the other one is BNST. Hopefully now it went correctly. That nucleus of strial terminalis. Yes, that's so long word. Sorry, but the other thing, what we know also from our brain is that hypoactive medial prefrontal cortex. So hypoactive means that it's not as active as it should be in normal situation, and hyperactive means it's kind of more active than it should be in normal situation. So if we think about treatments for anxiety disorders, there are some pharmacological treatments available. To mention one, SSRIs are used for anxiety disorders, but they are working for some people and for some they are not working. Also, psychotherapy is an option, and quite often they are combined or suggested to combine. And also some, if these treatments are not working, also some brain stimulations are used. But what comes to pharmacological treatments, these which are used, there are other options too in addition what I mentioned, but they may lead to increased tolerance and addictions. And yeah, as I mentioned, they are not working for all the people. And the thing what I have understood, hopefully I have understood it correctly, is that we don't actually know the exact way how they are working in anxiety disorders. So that's why this kind of research is super important, that we understand, for example, the genes, how they are working in anxiety disorders, so we can come up with more targeted therapy and actually understand what helps. But if we now move from the disorder type for this just this anxious feeling, if we just talk about anxiety, I can, for example, say that I get a bit anxious when I go front of the people, which I kind of think that they know more about the topic what I'm gonna talk, and the audience is maybe a big. So then I get really, really kind of stressed, feeling stressed and a bit scared, and I can feel that my heart rate is rising, and it's happening maybe just few minutes before I need to go there. So I know this feeling. It's terrible. Like 2 minutes ago, I was really relaxed and really sure what I'm gonna talk, but then when I'm almost there, I'm like, can I do that, and am I good enough? Hopefully I will not mix anything, and these kind of things. Also kind of really good, because then I have kind of more energy to be there and actually kind of react to the audience and their questions. So there are good sides in that, but it's sometimes bothering me a bit, because I know that it will happen. So these kind of situation when it's not affecting to my everyday life, and it's not kind of I can still go there, so it's not making my life harder, I would talk just about anxiety, which is really normal, and I bet most of the people experience that in some situations. Then now I will share the tips, so be there. And these are not working maybe for everyone, and these are just self experiments what I have done. So just take the tips which you might feel useful, and you can try those. But if you are actually suffering the disorder, or you are thinking that you might suffer that, always consult your doctor or your therapists. So I would say these kind of self-help things, these are really easy, and as I mentioned, these might help some people and maybe don't help some other. One thing, so if I would experience the anxious feeling maybe night before there's some situation, so I would maybe write them down, my thoughts, what I'm going through in my head, kind of make them more concrete, that I see that, okay, these are the thoughts. Then I could also think that, are these true, these worries, what I have in my head? Or it can be that, okay, they are now on the paper, and then I can do something else. I don't need to now focus to this. I will leave these here. Or I could say that, okay, I have 15 minutes time to worry these things, and then I need to leave these for a moment. I will continue with this later. So I would give some short time to myself to handle these things, and then I will give some time to myself to relax. These might help. Maybe one of the best working thing for me, if it's possible, of course, if I'm going to stage and going to talk to the people, I will not probably do this. It depends from the space where I am at that moment. But I love to go for a run when I'm feeling anxious. I hate running a lot, but it helps with these kind of emotions. And the reason is, first of all, that I'm doing something else than focusing to the thoughts what I would have there. And then other thing is that when I'm running, I also need to breathe in this certain way. I need to breathe this really rhythmic way, and not kind of in a panicking way. I'm breathing when I'm running, of course, I need to breathe more, but these are really deep breaths in and out, which help me to actually run and not get exhausted so fast. So that is, I think, the one reason why running is helping in my situation, at least. So from here, from running, we're gonna move forward to the breathing. I'm learning a lot from the people around me around the world. And I love to share the ideas what I get from them too. One thing what I learned from some of these podcast episodes, I think, from Andrew Huberman, was that breathing 2 times in and 1 time out, it's helping to kind of get more relaxed, more calm state. And it would go, so I will breathe it now here. So and maybe from my nose I would do that, but maybe you can hear that better. But you can choose whichever, it doesn't matter so much. Of course, there are some differences, but like the first inhale is a bit longer, the second one is a bit shorter, and then slower outward breathing. Exhale, yes. So I found it really interesting because it's the same thing what we are doing if we are crying. So the other thing what I learned from some of these episodes, I have watched those quite a lot, was that if we want to increase our state of arousal, it's then you should focus more to the inhaling, and if you would like to decrease the state, then focus more to the exhale part. And if you want to keep the optimal, there is this breathing technique called box breathing. I think it has other names too. So these kind of breathing techniques might help to the situation when the person is feeling anxious. And also meditation is one thing which may help some people. I was actually thinking I'm not able to meditate. I have tried so many apps for that, Synctation and Calm, and I was thinking Headspace, but then I yeah, I just need to start that at some point, at least try, maybe few minutes at a time. And because I have heard a lot of benefits from that, and also read a lot of papers recently in neuroscience side that they are recommending meditation. So I should start that. If you have any tips, yeah, you can also recommend some apps or then some techniques you have found that those are working for you. Please leave the comment. All right, this was all for today. Thank you for listening. And we are actually living Brain Awareness Week. So enjoy the week, and of course share the video just to increase the awareness of the brain. Yeah. All right. Thank you, and see you on next time. Bye.